Hey guys, it's a gorgeous day out today. Got a lot of people lately asking me about short sales. Not a pleasant topic, but a lot of the time it can be a salvation to avoid foreclosure. People asking questions: how does a short sale work in New Jersey? What are the rules of a short sale? How long does a short sale take in New Jersey? Is buying a short sale a good idea? So today I'm going to try and cover some of those topics. So, what exactly is a short sale in New Jersey? Short sale is when you essentially ask the bank to accept less than what you owe on your house to be able to get out of it without getting foreclosed on. And a lot of the time, it's good to have an agent to help you through this process because there's a lot of moving parts involved. An attorney is one of them, which is actually not a bad thing because it doesn't cost you anything. I'll get into that later on. What are the downsides on a short sale of a home? It all depends. It depends on how much you owe on your home, how far behind you are. Sometimes there can be no downsides. Sometimes there can be big downsides, but anything is better than getting foreclosed on because then you mess up your credit for 7 years essentially. Short sale can save you from those penalties. It can save you from having your credit get completely destroyed, unlike a foreclosure or a bankruptcy. What are the benefits? Well, if you owe a certain amount and let's say the house is worth well over what you owe, not only can you get out of it with a regular sale of your home, you can end up with some money in your pocket, depending on how much equity you have in your house. If you're newly into your mortgage, well, then that's going to be different because you're going to owe a lot more money. It's all a question of what the bank will do and if they're willing to play ball. A lot of the time it can be a good thing. Sometimes not so much. It all depends on the bank. There are plenty of banks that would much rather you stay in your home until you get it sold, and they'll give you the time, especially when it is an estate. So they'll usually give you, I believe, a year to get your place sold, and the bank loves it because you're taking care of it for them. So they don't have to worry about there being anybody in the unit squatting or anything else, any of those nightmares. And trust me, that's when stuff can really turn ugly and the bank will just end up taking the house back and you end up stuck with a foreclosure. So then you ask, can you negotiate the price on a short sale? No, you are not the one to negotiate the price. The way it works is the house will get listed at market value, or at least that's what we hope. If you don't have any people coming to look at the listing, then what ends up happening is the agent will lower the price and lower the price till it gets attention. The problem with that is that once the bank sends out an appraiser, and let's say the house was priced at $250, and you say, okay, I'll give you $250. The bank sends out the appraiser and they find out the house is worth $350. They're going to say, no, we'll take $350. Thank you. And it happens all the time. If the bank is desperate to get it off the books, they may settle for less. Doesn't always work out that way. So, don't make that your game plan. Now, what are the requirements for a short sale? Well, it's got to be listed. At the end of the day, the bank wants to see that you're actively listed and trying to find a buyer for the home. Because if not, they have no motivation to allow you to stay in it, and they will move the process along far more quickly. You get an agent, and the agent will get an attorney, which is no cost to you because they're going to charge the bank to work the deal. You have to be getting yourself in a position to be ready to move. You have to actively show the house. You can't turn around and list it and then not allow anybody to show it or come look at it because the bank is going to know. So you definitely want to avoid that because at the end of the day, again, all the bank wants to know is they're getting some of their money back, if not all of their money back, and it's without a headache and the place isn't vacant. You're taking care of it. So again, no squatters, no stolen pipes. So the bank definitely much prefers that. Can a seller make money on a short sale? Sure you can. If you've got equity, you have to have equity, in which case it becomes a regular sale. So if your house is worth $200,000, you only owe $100,000. Absolutely you can make money, and then there's no ding at all except for the late payments on your mortgage. So again, a short sale can be huge. literally be your salvation in certain instances. Now, how long do you have to wait to buy after a short sale? Well, that all depends on the circumstances of the short sale. Did you come out liquid? Did you come out with money in your pocket? Well, if that's the case, once the mortgage falls off your credit, which only takes maybe 3 months, 4 months tops, at that point your credit's going to go up because now you don't have any debt. And the beautiful part about that is you came out and your credit's intact and you shouldn't have any issue getting a mortgage. If you came out upside down, then it's going to be a different ball game. It's going to be a question of how long is it going to take you to repair the rest of your credit. And that may take time. Again, that all goes on quite literally a case-by-case basis. Who loses money on a short sale? Again, circumstances are going to dictate. You aren't losing, well, I shouldn't say that. So sometimes the bank will count if you were upside down, however much money they ended up taking less on, they tax you on that amount of money. So when you say, does anybody lose? Well, you could lose. The bank could lose. Again, it's all on a case-by-case basis. How long do short sales typically take? Well, that all depends on the bank. It depends on how bad the bank wants the house. It depends on the time of year. Sometimes the banks want to get a deal off of their books before the new year. So I had one take only 2 years. I had another one take 2 years and 3 months, and then the bank foreclosed anyway with a buyer the day before the closing. So again, with short sales, I don't like saying anything goes, but yeah, sometimes anything goes. How soon can you purchase a home after? Again, it all depends on the situation. Unfortunately, this is one of those deals that can go 9 ways the next Wednesday, but I'm here to help you through it. We go over everything. We go over your finances. We go over your mortgage. We go over how much you owe, whether or not we can get you out intact, maybe get some money in your pocket. And even if we couldn't get you money, we might be able to get you money from the bank to help you to relocate. Find a rental until you can get yourself situated. So then the question comes up, do banks prefer a short sale or a foreclosure? Okay, now it depends on the condition of the house, the value of the house. If they know they're going to get sledgehammered on a foreclosure going to sheriff's sale, then obviously they would prefer to take the house back for $1 at the sheriff's sale and resell it themselves. Now, obviously, if you are still living in the house, they're going to prefer a short sale most of the time if the house is in good condition. Because again, you're in the house, you're trying to sell the house, you get a ready, willing, and able buyer, and as long as you're not taking the house apart, the house isn't destroyed, and you're not taking the appliances with you, it can be a very easy process. It all depends on the bank, and it depends on you, because there is a lot of homework that needs to be done. There's a lot of paperwork that's going to need to be done. They're going to want to see hardship, and you're going to have to prove hardship to be able to get approved to do a short sale. You've got to be a certain number of payments behind depending on the bank. So, you can't just say, oh, I want to short sell my house, just walk away from your mortgage. You have to prove you can't pay it. They're going to want to see your bank account. They're going to want to see what you owe on the house. They're going to want to see the condition of the house. Like, there's a lot of things that have to be taken into account before you can even start the process. Once you start the process and we get that, what they call a short sale package, filled out and you can prove hardship, then I have an attorney that we use that will take care of all of that, dealing with the bank to streamline things, try to make it move faster. Again, it can be quick. It can be 2 months, 3 months, which is not the norm, so don't even think about it that way. They can average sometimes a year. Sometimes, again, I had one go over 2 years. It all depends on the bank, and it depends on how motivated they are. Now, how much less can you offer if you're buying a short sale? The bank is going to send out an appraiser, and the bank is going to determine what price they're going to accept for the house, whether you're bidding on it, you're going to the sheriff's sale, bidding on it on the steps, or you're putting an offer in with an agent while it's actively listed and before it is foreclosed on. is really, there's so much that's involved and there are so many moving parts. This is definitely something you need to talk to an agent about. If it's not me, you've got to talk to somebody. And whatever you do, don't stick your head in the sand, because you'll end up getting foreclosed on, and that is the last thing you want. You need any help, you know where to find me. Come on, hit that button. You know you wanna.